The world is full of stories about mythical creatures, legendary beasts, and supernatural and godlike beings. For thousands of years, humans everywhere, sometimes inspired by living animals or even fossils, have brought mythic creatures to life in stories. While the origins of these fabulous creatures are varied, and often disputed, they have played significant roles in human society, and have served to stimulate the imagination and desire that is ingrained in human nature to experience more than this physical world. Whether they truly exist in physical form is indeed secondary to their existence in the minds of so many people throughout the world and through history. Here are 10 of the most mythological creatures that turned out to be real-life evidence. Dragon. A dragon is a legendary creature, typically scaled or fire-spewing and with serpentine, reptilian or avian traits, that features in the myths of many cultures around the world. Dragons are generally depicted as living in rivers or having an underground lair or cave. They are commonly described as having hard or armored hide, and are rarely described as flying, despite often being depicted with wings. In this video, a baby dragon was newly hatched. It is dragons with green scales, big eyes, a pair of horns, has a white fur on its head and a long body. We can say that the existence of this kind of creature can be real, but for now, the authenticity of the proofs that they live among us is questionable. Another dragon spotted. A man in China took footage of this giant mysterious flying creature that was spotted near the border of Laos. Many theories have emerged, with some claiming the creature is a real dragon that was caught on tape. What do you say about that? Unicorn. The unicorn is a legendary creature that has been described since antiquity as a beast with a single large, pointed, spiraling horn projecting from its forehead. In European folklore, the unicorn is often depicted as a white horse-like or goat-like animal with a long horn and cloven hooves. Watch real-life footage of an actual unicorn in the wild. The footage is from the Ontario Science Centre, which claims that the picture was taken by a Canadian birdwatcher. And right there we know it can possibly be real. Is it real or not? What do you say about it? Mermaid. A mermaid is a legendary aquatic creature with the head and upper body of a female human and the tail of a fish. The male equivalent of the mermaid is the merman, also a familiar figure in folklore and heraldry. Mermaids appear in the folklore of many cultures worldwide, including the Near East, Europe, Africa and Asia. In this video, some of the villagers there stumbled upon this creature. This mermaid was washed up on the coast of Malaysia. Mouth open, eyes bulging. Not exactly the picture of the beautiful mystical mermaid we have in mind. But are mermaids real? No evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever been found. Fairies. Fairy is a type of mythical being or legendary creature in European folklore, a form of spirit, often described as metaphysical, supernatural. In Old French romance, fairy was a woman skilled in magic, and who knew the power and virtue of words, of stones, and of herbs. Diminutive fairies of one kind or another have been recorded for centuries, but occur alongside the human-sized beings. These have been depicted as ranging in size from very tiny up to the size of a human child. Some fairies, though normally quite small, were able to dilate their figures to imitate humans. In 2007, images of an 8-inch mummified creature resembling a fairy. They explain how the creature had been found by a man. Even if you believe in fairies, and right there we know it can possibly be real. Is it real or not? What do you say about it? Werewolf. A werewolf is a mythological human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf, either purposely or after being placed under a curse, or often a bite or scratch from another werewolf. Early sources for belief in this ability, called lycanthropy. Some modern researchers have tried to explain the reports of werewolf behavior with recognized medical conditions. The transformation may be temporary or permanent. A real-life werewolf begins a girl named Emily Isabel Burt. Then her mother shipped them off to boarding school in Europe. After a long, she came and her mother noticed. She looked sickly, with a million-mile stare, and complained that she was unable to sleep. To make matters worse, she'd started to grow unsightly hair in odd places, and even strangers noticed that her teeth began to look more pointed, almost as if she were growing fangs. According to her, it was a real werewolf. A doctor in Paris who claimed to specialize in lycanthropy. Several years later, Emily Isabella Burt became better with treatment and lived out the rest of her life as a successful businesswoman. Do you think she was a real-life werewolf? Basilisk. In European bestiaries and legends, A basilisk is a legendary reptile reputed to be king of serpents and said to have the power to cause death with a single lance. That is so venomous, it leaves a wide trail of deadly venom in its wake, and its gaze is likewise lethal. Its weakness is in the odor of the weasel. It is possible that the legend of the basilisk and its association with the weasel in Europe was inspired by accounts of certain species of Asiatic snakes and their natural predator, the mongoose. But in real life, Jesus Christ lizard and anaconda is also called basilisk, a prehistoric jungle swamp and a fearsome predator, able to eat any animal that caught its eye. Basilisk is a mega snake, did not use venomous fangs or a lethal stare to kill its prey. Instead, akin to the anaconda or boa constrictor of today. Centaur. A centaur is a mythological creature with the upper body of a human and the lower body of a horse. The centaurs were usually said to have been born of Ixion and Nephil. The most common theory holds that the idea of centaurs came from the first reaction of a non-riding culture, as in the Minoan world, to nomads who were mounted on horses. Horse taming and horseback culture arose first in the southern steppe grasslands of Central Asia, perhaps approximately in modern Kazakhstan. In this video you know about centaurs in real life or not. Yes, centaur may be possible real. But there is no solid evidence about it. Many scientists believe it possible. IMP. An IMP is a mythological being similar to a fairy or goblin, frequently described in folklore and superstition. Starting in the 16th century, it was often used in expressions like IMPs of serpents, IMP of hell, IMP of the devil, and so on. And by the 17th century, it came to mean a small demon, a familiar of a witch. IMPs have also been described as being bound or contained in some sort of object, such as a sword or crystal ball. In other cases, IMPs were simply kept in a certain object and summoned only when their masters had need of them. Some even had the ability to grant their owners wishes, much like a genie. In this video, an IMP walking in a jungle. It is called Wooden IMP, and are many more in a numbers which lives in this forest. What you think about it? Is it real or not? Hippogriff. The hippogriff is a legendary creature which has the front half of an eagle and the hind half of a horse. It is extremely fast and is presented as being able to fly around the world and to the moon, which denotes another mythical creature, with the head of an eagle and body of a lion, that is purported to be the father of the hippogriff. In modern days the hippogriff appears in various works of fantasy, movie Harry Potter. But there, a real-life hippogriff is demanding visitors bow down to him. Hippogriffs are, as we all know, half eagle, half horse and reportedly very calm, sensitive and proud creatures which demand respect. What you say about this video? Sea serpent. A sea serpent is a dragon described in various mythologies, Mesopotamian, Hebrew and Norse. In modern times some people believe that the creature is a cryptid. Sightings of sea serpents have been reported for hundreds of years, and continue to be claimed today. In Norse mythology, a sea serpent so long that it encircled the entire world. In this video, a real sea serpent, the enigmatic oarfish, could be the truth behind ancient tales of sea serpents capable of sinking ships. Growing up to 36 feet long and swimming like a snake at the ocean's surface, oarfish match historic descriptions of frightening monsters from the deep.